What's going on, everybody, and welcome into Monkey Knife Fight's Home Run Blast Show. I'm Connor Rowntree, joined by RotoWire Zone. Well, John McKechnie, how you doing, man? It's been a long time, and I almost forgot your name there because I haven't seen you since our Festivus show.
That's right. It's been a while. It's good to be back on cam with you and getting it done here. The Festivus show, legendary. We were all in our Christmas regalia. I think my dad's cat made an appearance. I mean, that was an off the rails show. So I'm anticipating something similar here.
Oh, well, we're already off to a great start. And something that's even more off the rails is Monkey Knife Fight's $100,000 in prizes this season in the Home Run Blast. Look, folks, every month there's a different grouping of prizes. The final push for June, it's tight right now. Only a few home runs separating the leaders. I was just looking at the Home Run Blast leaderboard. So make sure you get in on these picks that John and I are going to give you today. Make sure you fill in tomorrow. And then it all starts fresh for July 1st on Friday, a whole new month. And remember, up to $100,000 in prizes this season. John, before we get into anything talking about our picks, the Orioles headband, I need a little backstory there.
Okay, so glad to share. So my hair is a little bit longer than usual, so I figured I'd kind of lean into it a little bit. And I was up at Camden Yards over Father's Day weekend. Was kind of wandering around the concourse, may or may not have had a little bit of a buzz on, wander into the team store. And I'm like, you know what? Why don't I just become a headband guy for the summer? So I just went ahead. I saw that one. There was a good selection of these type of headbands, but I've seen some of the O's players wearing this one. And I was like, all right, that's the key for me. I think it's been good luck thus far. And, I'm just going to keep going with it.
Well, I mean, between the headband and the muzzy, you definitely have some sort of major league look. I don't know if it's the Wild Thing look per se, but I mean, if you got the haircut at the back, we could definitely push for it.
No, you're right. And, we're coming up on 4th of July weekend, that kind of means you can kind of do whatever you want with your hair a little bit, so who knows, maybe I'll pop into the barbershop or see if a buddy of mine has some clippers and get a Wild Thing going there. But I think at the very least, if I'm not Wild Thing, I would be someone that was hanging out with Wild Thing.
Never a bad time to let your hair down on the holiday weekend. Now, John, let's get into some picks for tonight because there's some pretty big names hitting into the batter's box this evening. And one name and one game that I'll just highlight right off the bat here, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., the Toronto Blue Jays. He already has a home run against Nick Pivetta, who's getting the start for the Bo Sox tonight. He hit the walk-off RBI last night. And by the way, he's Vladimir Guerrero Jr. So that's never a bad pick. And I'm going to lock in Vladdy for tonight. John, what do you think of that?
It's hard to go wrong with Vladito. I mean, the guy just has such ridiculous power. He can hit balls that look like a line drive to a mere mortal that, are somehow hitting off the facing of the second deck over at the Rogers Center. Like the guy just has stupid pop. So that's never a bad idea. And I feel like Pivetta has been a little bit over his skis this year. I mean, I feel like the Red Sox in general have been kind of working some sort of alchemy with a lot of their players this year, the pitching side especially. So I feel like we might start to see the wheels come off a little bit. I know that the Red Sox haven't been particularly good against the Blue Jays or the AL East in general this year. They don't have their closer up there. So, another late inning opportunity potentially for Vlad. I like that. I like that call. The ball's starting to fly. It's, late June. We're getting into July. Vlad's a good guy to back.
Yeah, and as you were talking about Pivetta there, he has given up 3 home runs across his last 4 starts. So the ball has been definitely jumping off the bat while he's been pitching it. John, who's up next? Who do you have?
So I've been taking a look a little bit at the 8 o'clock window slate, and one game that kind of drew my attention was the Reds-Cubs game at Wrigley. And Wrigley, not really known for being a launching pad, but I think we have a couple of pitchers taking the mound tonight that we could take advantage of. So I'll lead off with Brandon Drury. He's facing a lefty, and he's got a 1050 OPS against left-handed pitching. Again, Chicago, not the best park for home runs, but Justin Steele's starting to get figured out a little bit after he was really, really good to start the year. Gave up 3 home runs over his last 2 starts. Drury has 7 home runs off of lefties this year. So I like Drury for one of my picks. And then my other one, from that game is Wilson Contreras. So on the other side, going up against Hunter Green. Hunter Green has the highest home runs per 9 innings in baseball among pitchers with at least 60 innings pitched this year. So, I mean, I've seen him get tattooed multiple times trying to watch the Reds this year. Hunter Green, exciting prospect, electric fastball, but it's straight. And sometimes if a guy runs into it, like it's going a very long way and it's not coming back. So Contreras, it sets up really, really well for him. 7 of his 12 home runs this year have come at home. I really, really like this setup. I feel like Green is always a good bet to give up a couple taters, and and Contreras is my pick from there. And if you wanted to get a little bit off the board, Christopher Morel, likely the leadoff hitter, also an idea from the Cubbies.
Yeah, I love that pick from the Cubbies, and I actually had Wilson Contreras. He was circled on my pick board as well. He has a home run in 2 career at bats against Green already. So hitting 500 already with the jack, proven history. And as you said, I don't need to get into the fact how Hunter Green has been struggling, although, he can bring the heat with 88 Ks, as you did allude to. Were there any other games in that 8 o'clock window you wanted to take a look at there, John?
So anytime we're going to be doing a home run blast video and there's a Coors Field game on the docket, you got to take a look, right? So for me, I looked at the Rockies side of things, and I went with CJ Cron. So he of course is one of the big benefactors of playing at Coors Field. 13 of his 17 home runs this year have come in the confines of Coors Field. Good history against Urias. He's not usually a guy that homers a ton of his home runs don't usually come off of lefties, just 6 of his 17 this year. But even still, Urias has struggled over the balance of his career at Coors, and we have a good sample on that. So 287 average allowed, 794 OPS allowed. So we've seen Urias kind of figure things out the last couple of starts, didn't give up any home runs in either of those two, but he did recently have a stretch where he gave up 5 across 3 starts. So I think CJ Cron with that platoon advantage is a nice pick. And then taking a look at the late game, White Sox, Angels, that's a fun one. I'm not going to go the hey, Mike Trout's a good idea. Hey, Shohei Ohtani's a good idea. Jared Walsh is the guy that I'm looking at from this Angels lineup. He's definitely a platoon advantage guy that you want to take a look at. He's a left-handed bat going up against Michael Kopech. 11 of his 13 home runs this year against righties. 7 of those homers have come at home. Walsh has some pop, should be hitting the middle of that lineup. I think Kopech might be a little bit ripe to give up a long ball to Jared Walsh.
Yeah, I absolutely love those picks, mainly because I have Jared Walsh on my fantasy. And then back to that other game, you talk about Coors Field, that's just a home run factory. We saw what the home run derby was like there last year when Vladimir Guerrero Jr. somehow hit the most home runs in the history of the home run derby, but didn't win the derby.
I had a bet on Mancini. I think he had like the longest odds. I was in Vegas that week and I put down on Mancini at, like plus 2,500 or something. I was so close. So from that moment forward, me and Pete Alonso, if I see him, it's on site.
Yeah, well, I absolutely agree with you on that. And the CJ Cron pick is just lights out. Again, I had notes on that one. He's hitting 429 against your eyes with a pair of home runs already and 9 RBIs. So that's just free. That's free development space in his head right there. He's putting up condos. So I really like that spot. And then there was one earlier game that I really wanted to touch on. If you don't mind, John, just at 7:05. Now, I don't usually like to pick against the Atlanta Braves pitching, but there is a couple of guys that I just wanted to note. One of them being Kyle Schwarber. He has home runs in back-to-back games, 4 home runs in his last 6 games. The 5th most in the majors. Look, Kyle Wright, he's a solid pitcher, but something's going to have to give tonight, and maybe it's Kyle Schwarber.
And I think, check the calendar. It's still June, right? And that June is known as Schwarber month. Over the last 2 years, I think I saw a stat last night, 27 home runs in the month of June from 2021 and 2022. That's just ridiculous. The guy just locks in. His Mercury's in rising during June. His Gemini season is going absolutely bananas, and he's just thriving in the month of June. So once it comes to July, he's just going to start striking out only again. But for now, we got 2 more days to take advantage of this. So Schwarbombs tonight. I love it.
Well, Well, folks, that's right. You heard John. You got 2 more days to get in on those June winnings. If you're close to the top of the leaderboard, make sure you hop on the Home Run Blast only on Monkey Knife Fight and boost your numbers up. John, any final picks that you just want to discuss before we get out of here?
Well, I am wearing an Orioles headband, so I figured I got to touch on that one. This game starts at 4:10 Eastern, so get this one in your afternoon slate. But Austin Voth is pitching for the Orioles. That's not particularly good for if you're Baltimore, but it's very good if you're targeting some Seattle bats, especially those lefties. Jesse Winker comes to mind as someone to take a look at. They don't have a ton of other righties. Carlos Santana might get on the board with his first home run as a member of the Mariners, and Eugenio Suarez, also a guy, batting from the cleanup spot, someone that I would take a look at as well. So I don't think both is long for this game. I think the Mariners can take advantage.
Yeah, an ERA up over 7.8 this season. That doesn't inspire too much confidence.
They traded for
all.
him recently. I didn't get that one.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't get your headband, but hey, things happen. Folks, thanks so much for tuning in to Monkey Knife Fight's Home Run Blast video. I'm Connor Rowntree. That's John McKechnie of RotoWire. And of course, all of our other content here on MKF. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.